Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks. We are back building and we are once again working on our flying carrier. You guys can see I did a little bit of work off camera, not too much, but in today's episode we are just going to continue working on the interior of this thing. I am just looking at the new seat. This is when they added the new seat, so you guys can see that's kind of how far behind these videos are versus reality, I guess. But yeah, so today we are going to just continue working on the interior of the flying carrier. I want to get kind of like a first class compartment going almost, and then from there on we will continue adding more passenger seats. But don't worry guys, this is not going to just be like just passenger seats. There's going to be a lot of like livable area. So a little bit later in the episode, we're actually going to go down a deck and we are going to start working on a mess hall or a galley, or I don't really know what it would be called on an airplane, to be honest, but it's going to be a very, very large kitchen, dining room kind of area to service the entire flying aircraft carrier. So we're going to start a little slow with this episode, and essentially I'm adding a first class here because I want there to be kind of like a VIP area, like a cool guy area, but not really. Essentially, I want this, since it's a military plane, but it's also like a really large military plane, there are chances that there would be, like non-military officials on the plane, diplomats, something like that. I don't know. Who knows? People that are going to complain unless they have a cushy seat and air conditioning. So that is what we're going to do, is we're going to get some nice cushy seats, some first class action going, and then like I said, later on we'll go downstairs. We'll work a little bit downstairs, but really I'm just going to detail one little section of seats here, and then we'll get that looking good and we'll just copy and paste it down the row, and I think we should be good from there. So one thing to kind of keep in mind with this build, guys, is I am trying to keep the paint blocks to an absolute minimal. I'm trying to keep the file size down. So I'm trying to keep a lot of the design pretty minimalist on the interior. But I'm also trying to, I am myself. So I am trying to decorate this as much as I possibly can. So a lot of the decorations are going to be more blocks than paint blocks. Paint blocks are really, really rough on the file size. So I'm trying to keep the file size under 14 megabytes. That way you do not need to mission spawn it. You will need to modify your workbench, but that way you at least won't need a mission spawner. So you can still use it in like survival if you have the modded workbench, something like that. You know what I mean? So that is really one of the big focuses here. But other than that, right now, I am just trying to make kind of a first class seating arrangement where there's two big comfy seats facing each other with a nice table in between, and we're just going to go stack maybe 3 or 4 of those back to back down this hallway. So we will kind of speed up, start getting into the sped up section here. But one thing I do want to mention before we get into that, guys, is the build challenge does have a due date. It's coming up on you guys quick. It is the 20th. So if you don't have your plane ready, or if you haven't started, I would start doing that now. That timeline's going to sneak up on you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Good place to talk about that would be in my Discord. Submit in my Discord. All the details are in my Discord. There's a link down below. But yeah, enough yapping. We're going to get right into the build with this, guys, and I will talk to you in just a moment. All right, well, we basically have these seats situated, so I'm not going to mess around with them too much more. That's about the level of detailing I think we are going to be allowed with this ship. We have this blank little space up front here, so I think I'm just going to kind of continue this countertop space, and we can pretend this is just like snacks and maybe like a fridge, or I don't know, whatever goodies you want to think would make flying and being bored on the plane a little bit easier. So that is that. The only other thing we need to do up here is lights and the overhead bins here. So I do want to get some overhead bins, just like on a passenger plane. You guys have all seen the interior of a passenger plane, so same kind of vibe. And I did mess around with the idea of kind of backlighting that, but I don't think we're going to do that. It's just kind of unnecessary. But I am going to throw handles on it, and we will kind of call it a day. That room is another room that you guys will see a little later on. But essentially, we will come back to that. That is a little conference room. But that is really all we're going to do for this little frontal section. I do have a surprise a little bit later on. We'll fill that blank space right behind this. But other than that, I'm just going to throw in some other minor detailing, like some lights and some vents over here. And yeah, I think that'll be pretty much good enough. And I'll just throw some occupied switches onto these lights, and I will get them painted up. And then we can get some overhead lights in, and we can move on to working on the galley. So let's just get these lights painted up, and I will get the big boy spawned in, and we will kind of check it out. We'll turn it to nighttime, turn it to daytime, and I'm just going to throw a couple shades of lights in here so we can sit at each seat and test which one we like. But here we are. And this is the live play, so I'm going to turn it to night real quick just so we can test these lights. That one is pretty dim. Sorry guys, I know it is dark on the video. Probably hard for you guys to tell the difference. That's not really different. That's the same seat. And that is a little bit brighter. And yeah, I know I'm kind of OCD about the lights, so you guys get to go along with the ride. But I think that the light I'm sitting under right now is the ticket winner. That lights us up in the day. And guys, I am sorry about the noise outside. They are doing construction. But I think that this light is the winner. Nice amount of light in the day and night, and I don't think it's too in your face, too blinding. It's also not like too orange or, you know, anything like that. This one's also not too bad. That one might be a little too bright though. But anyways, enough of that. That is your weekly scheduled me talking about light colors, and we're gonna go downstairs here and work on the galley. So this is the galley area that I kind of chose. So we are going to put the kitchen kind of back here towards these windows, and then the front of that, in front of that, is going to be a lot of kind of seating area. So this this dining hall or galley or whatever you want to call it really is going to be a lot more like you would see on a large ship. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, the idea of this aircraft is that it would stay in the air for a very long time. So the kitchen is kind of more of a permanent thing instead of hey, we're microwaving meals to get by. So that is a fun thing about this ship. The interior, I told you guys, it's not going to just be seats. We're going to have tons of like kind of livable spaces like this. So I'm kind of excited for you guys to see some of the stuff we have planned for the interior. But yeah, we're going to work on the galley here, and I think that after we get that done, we're not going to get too much into the details on this. We'll probably come back to this area of the aircraft later in another day. But after we kind of get the shapes out and roughed out, we will spawn it in the world again. We'll check it out, and that'll be pretty much the end of the episode. All right, so we got a good amount of this kind of shaped out. You guys can see this is going to be more of the kitchen area, so it's going to be kind of more of like a buffet style, I guess. Not really buffets, but more cafeteria style, where there's like a line you go down and you get all of your slop. And yeah, but I think this is looking good. I do think that I thought about the floor plan down here a lot, and this space was really, really awkward. So I do think that this is going to be one of the best spaces for the galley or the mess hall or whatever you guys want to call it. If you know what the correct terminology would be, please let me know. And but yeah, anyways, I'm just going to keep using the wrong terminology, but we're going to throw some windows on this. It's going to be pretty similar to the kind of thing that I did on my micro carrier. Like I said, very similar to something you'd see on the ship. So I'm just adding some glass around the edges, make it look a little bit nicer. And like I said, we're not going to completely finish this off today. But I did want to kind of get it blocked off, sectioned off, and then we can come back and give it, a once more over and kind of make it a lot tidier. The other thing I did want to get down here was a bunch of tables and seating, and that was just because I know that would be really, really space consuming, but these seats also just dropped, as you guys can see, and I wanted to check them out. As soon as I saw them, I did not think they would be good for motorcycles, bicycles, that kind of thing. I actually immediately thought cafeteria seat. So I kind of was eager to try to make cafeteria seating with them. So we're gonna make a bunch of tables and benches, and yeah, we're just gonna throw a bunch of seating all over down here, so guys can think that this would be more of a common space. This is also on the first floor, and you can access it straight from the cargo deck. So the nice thing about that is if you rescue a lot of people, the food area is easily accessible without kind of having to go upstairs and be intrusive towards the crew and their activities. Anyways, I just wanted to spawn those in and sit in them real quick and just kind of see what the viewpoint was like. I wanted to make sure the table is at the right height, and it is clear that the table needs to be a little bit longer, or actually, no, that works out perfectly. We could just flip this around, and I was thinking about trying to add some booths, and I think I'm actually just going to go with these long benches right around the middle of the room. So we're going to try to add 2 or 3 different tables. I don't want just one large, massive dining room table. It's not a castle, but I do want just, a good amount of seats in here, if possible, as many as possible, really. Trying to make the carrier as large as possible on the inside. Obviously, it's not a small aircraft, but realistically speaking, it's nowhere near the size of like the CL-1201 or something like that. To scale, it is larger than a C5 Galaxy, so it is definitely not a small aircraft, but if this was something you were living on, it's definitely not very large. So the walkable wings, definitely a nice addition, adds a lot of space to the interior of the plane. But like I said, I want this to kind of be like the end game vehicle. You can use this really to use or to do whatever you need. And so for that reason, as many seats as possible. Now, I am done yapping, and I'm also done with the table, and I do think that is a pretty good looking table. So pretty happy with the new seats they added, and I know that we have the modded parts now, guys. I know probably a few of you are probably wondering if I'll ever get into those. Probably not, but that is... I don't know. It's kind of a weird subject. So I'm not against it, especially now that it will download mods if you download my creation. The issue is I don't want to bombard you guys with mods, and I'm very picky about the style. So if the fidelity of the mod is, for a visual part, much better than the rest of Stormworks, I'm not going to use it. If it's not well optimized, I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to, get one part, one block visual mods. If I do get things, they're probably going to be broader packs. And that way you guys don't have to get 900 million mods to play with whack out creations. But I really would like your guys' feedback on that. So do let me know down below if you have any opinions on that and the modding update in general. But that is pretty much the end of this one, guys. So if you made it to the end, thank you so much. I do appreciate the support so much. You guys have been crushing it on these carrier videos, so I really do appreciate the support. You guys mean the world to me, and you're the reason I'm building these vehicles. So thank you, seriously. But again, that's all I got for you guys in this one. I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. If you like the series, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.